Secrets make you sick. And this secret was killing me. It was killing me. I worked in ministry, in Christian television ministry, and I didn't want people to know. My mother didn't know. My best friends didn't know. No one knew.
Christina had a painful childhood, including sexual abuse. She even attempted suicide. As a single mom in her mid-20s, she was completely unprepared to raise her son Zachary on her own.
When I had not been able to buy my own son's diapers for 2 years, I lived on welfare. I lived in a shelter, and it was so difficult, and I wanted him to have better.
Zachary gave Christina a reason to live. And hard as it was, she finished her bachelor's degree and worked. But somehow, she still had to deal with the pain of the past.
When trauma came into my life, I had an ability to survive. The way I had survived was by shutting down and by medicating with drugs and with alcohol.
Christina kept looking for love in relationships. When Zachary was 3, she started feeling tired, like when she was pregnant.
Being frantic, thinking, this can't be happening again. We're just getting bad. We're getting on our feet. This can't be happening. I couldn't think of it as a child. I couldn't think of it as his brother or sister. I could only think that I cannot be pregnant again.
Christina never had a pregnancy test. She didn't want to be sure. Then on a bleak December day, she decided to walk past the protesters, sign holders, and name callers.
When the nurse informed me that I had been pregnant, almost immediately I realized I had made a tragic mistake. And this is one secret you can't tell someone. I took the life of my child. It's an incredible guilt and shame. The lie is, if I have this abortion, then my circumstances will change and life goes on. Life doesn't go on. This unbearable grief becomes part of your life. For me, it was an unlivable grief. I could not live knowing that I had taken the life of my own child.
Christina was so despondent after a few years that she was hospitalized. The pastor of a church she'd visited came to see her every day. He explained the gospel and forgiveness to her. Christina soon gave her life to Christ and started to heal, but she was still too ashamed to tell anyone about the abortion.
For some reason, I thought if anyone knew that everything would be taken from me. I couldn't work in ministry anymore. People wouldn't love me. They wouldn't respect me.
15 years later, Christina finally told her mother, and to her surprise, she found acceptance and love. She started to tell friends, and in time spoke to groups. It healed her to help others heal, or to choose differently. Christina met Larry Claypool after one speaking engagement and married him in 2002. His love and encouragement have furthered her healing and given her the courage to write Forgiven.
Abortion is a terrible sin. It's a terrible blight upon our society, but yet God's grace is so sufficient that we always need to say that God's forgiveness covers this sin.
Did you truly believe that your pregnancy was just a glob of tissue?
When you look at something through the eyes of a regenerated mind, of a mind that's been enlightened by God, you can't imagine that you could have believed that this was a glob of tissue. But I needed to believe that.
How do you feel about the claim that abortion is a woman's right?
When you understand that two lives are intertwined, that the life that you're carrying and that your own life, that they're absolutely inseparable, you have to see that both of those people have rights. You know, and unfortunately, when you say, do you have the right? You never have the right to take someone's life. Never.
Christina strongly encourages all Christians to reach out to post-abortive women.
We as the church have to support them. We have to support them with more than a bag of diapers once a year. I will never know what would have happened if someone would have come out of that crowd and put their arm around me and said, do you know, God loves you and I want to help you. What do you need? Do you need a bedroom to stay in? Do you need food? Do you and your son need food until you have this baby and you can make a choice? And just like I had to accept by faith that God could save a person like me, an emotionally unstable, drug-addicted person. God loved me. I had to accept by faith. I had to accept God's forgiveness for my abortion by faith. Because even now, the enemy will try to come and tell me that I don't deserve that forgiveness. And he's so right, I don't. That's why Christ died on the cross.